Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Look, there's just a few days left until the potential of the government shutdown, right? The Senate has unveiled their bipartisan stopgap legislation or what have you, and that gets us through to the middle of November, but there's no guarantee that there's going to be passage on the House side. So what are we looking at? I'm going to dive into it a little bit, read you a couple things that I found, and just kind of give you some highlights here. And again, affirm that your VA disability payments and other things like that will continue. You just might have a harder time getting a hold of the VA or getting a claim processed faster than or as fast as they were going because there will be some drawback there as far as overtime and so forth. So with that, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. All right, so here's the article I found, and basically the headline is Senate leaders reach a deal on short-term spending bill in a push to avert the shutdown. And it says, with just days to go before the government runs out of money, the Senate has unveiled a bipartisan stopgap bill in a bid to avert a shutdown, but there's no guarantee that it will be able to pass in the House. The Senate stopgap bill, which would keep the government funded until November 17th, includes $6.2 billion in Ukraine aid. And from a lot of the comments I see, there's going to be some more comments. So, includes $6.2 billion in Ukraine aid and $6 billion for natural disasters. So just over $12 billion for those two things. The release of the Senate bill, which was negotiated on a bipartisan basis, sets up a stark contrast and a shutdown in the White House where the Republican majority faces deep divisions and the demands of hardline conservatives have been highly influential in driving the agenda as a shutdown looms. So, in other words, people are towing the line in a fashion to basically hold the budget in order to get. It's political games like always, right? So it happens almost every year, and so here we are as it continues. So. Basically, we'll see what happens on the House line. This thing continues on for a while, but the Senate took that initial step to advance its bipartisan stopgap bill on Tuesday, which was yesterday, with a procedural vote of 77-19. So that moved through fairly smoothly. McCarthy on the House side faces leadership test in House. It says here that lacking the GOP votes to pass the stopgap bill, McCarthy is turning attention early in the week toward an effort to advance a series of spending bills, including for the Department of Defense and Homeland Security. So passing those bills won't stop a shutdown at the end of the week, but as things continue to push forward, at least there'll be some things moving. So moving on, I'm going to jump over to another thing that I found. So that's just, look, the shutdown's probably still on the table, is the bottom line. And I found another article that the headline here is, yes, veterans will still get disability and pension benefits during a government shutdown. I wanted to read a little bit out of this one for you as well. The government will shut down its federal lawmaker if federal lawmakers don't pass a new budget by September 30th. And today is the 27th. So it's the days away. And we'll see what happens. So if by September 30th, shutdown happens when Congress doesn't approve funding to keep the government programs running. And as we move on through this, sorry, I had to blow it up a little bit here. The question: will veterans continue receiving disability and pension benefits if the government shuts down? And basically, the U.S. Code requires Congress to set aside funding for veterans benefits and medical care a year in advance when it sets the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs budget and federal government annual budget bills. So basically, we're always one year ahead, right? So the advanced funding must cover the estimated cost of veterans benefits and health care for the year, says the U.S. code. So it's by U.S. code that they must do this. Veteran.com, a website that specializes, obviously, in providing military benefits information, says the VA lobbied Congress to fund veterans benefits programs in advance after previous government shutdowns. The VA section of the budget bill passed in December 22, which funds the government up to September 30th of 2023, includes funding for Veterans Benefits Administration and the Veterans Health Administration, which shall become available on October 1st, 2023, to remain available until expended. So it's not like they get held if something happens. They get to spend it as they're supposed to anyway. October 1st, 2023 is the beginning of the federal fiscal year of 2024. The government will shut down without a new budget by that date because the most recent budget only provides most federal government agencies and programs funding for fiscal year 2023. A Senate Republican summary of the December 22 bill's veteran spending said the bill included a total of $155 billion for veterans benefits and $128 billion for veterans health care for fiscal year 2024. That's a lot of money. So that is $155 billion for veterans benefits and $128 billion for veterans health care. So while many government programs will run out of funding on October 1st, 2023, veterans benefits programs will instead get access to additional funds on that date. The VA Secretary confirmed veterans will continue to see the benefits during the government shutdown. In the case of a shutdown, VA would continue to process and deliver benefits to veterans, including compensation, pension, education, and housing benefits. He said in a September 22nd press conference. So that's important, and I will tell you that I did read in a prior video that there will be some impacts within the VA. Some of the things that I've read were the overtime, mandatory overtime would be cut back for a lot of the claims processing employees. There will be maintenance worker furloughs. There'll be other impacts within the VA, but for most of us, we're not going to feel it. The people who will feel it will be the people who are primarily trying to access certain benefits from the VA, and there may be drag or delays in that compared to what it would be normally. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.